Welcome to the 2018 Cheez It Bowl from the home of the Arizona Diamondbacks in Phoenix. The first time ever TCU and Cal get together on the gridiron, and they make a grand entrance. Cal Golden Bears, a team that won its first 3 games, then 3 in a row in the loss column. But they've gotten to a bowl game for the first time since 2015, thanks to a staunch defense. And on the other side for TCU, Gary Patterson's team has been to a bowl now 16 of the last 18 seasons. They had to claw uphill to get here, winning their final 2 games, and they have been very similar seasons. It has been a little bit of a slog at points for both teams. We should see less scoring than your typical bowl game today, and the quarterback carousel has been ridiculously paced for both these teams. TCU has just been all over the map in terms of quarterback. Sean Robinson's shoulder injury, they turn to Mike Collins. He ends up getting hurt as well, an injured right leg against Baylor. That pressed Grayson Muhlstein into action. Justin Rogers might have played as well, but his knee injury led to a drop foot condition. So it's up to Muhlstein to play quarterback, a guy who's done a lot of very nice things on campus, but not thrown a pass before this season. Jason Benetti, Kelly Stauffer, Olivia Decker along with you. Muhlstein is the leader, at least for now. He's in as the quarterback because he's what they got, but he got him to a bowl game, Kel.
Exactly. Games they had to win down the stretch. Went into about halftime of the Baylor game, got his first start of his 5-year career against Oklahoma State, a game they needed to have. But what a great college football story. A rare bird indeed to see a 5th-year quarterback at the same school. But this might be Gary Patterson's finest hour in coaching in 18 seasons at TCU. The way he had to keep this ship together when quarterbacks were coming and going. But one thing was constant on the offensive side of the ball, and that was how often can we get the ball to Jalen Reagor? What a tremendous player, by far the best offensive player in the game tonight.
He may be coming out of the bullpen. We don't know. He's going to line up everywhere, right, Olivia Decker?
That's right, and with 3 quarterbacks this season, Jason, Reagor has had to be so consistent. He already has over 1,000 receiving yards, but his best game was his last game, a win over Oklahoma State, where he had 100 rushing yards and over 90 receiving yards. Amazingly enough, in the Big 12, with all that offense, he is the first player ever to accomplish that. And Gary Patterson told us they're going to feed it to him all night long. But tonight, Reagor has the chance to make program history with the most catches in a season. Guys, he only needs 7.
Yeah, but the deal is for him is this Cal defense is the best unit that they've got. They've got 2 linebackers who are awesome.
Yeah, Justin Wilcox in his 2nd year made his reputation on the defensive side. He gets Tim DeRuyter. And objective number 1 is to find out where number 1 is on the opposite side of the ball, because they will use them all over the place. But the best way that Cal has to win this game tonight is probably for their defense to not only set up their offense multiple times, but maybe score touchdowns themselves. And they've done it multiple times this season. Offensively, Cal has struggled. Defensively, they've been rock solid the entire year.
Jordan Panashik and Evan Weaver combined for about 270 tackles. For Justin Wilcox, who's been a defensive coordinator for a long time, couple of seasons as the head coach on the Cal sideline. And here's a guy who, look, he knows he's going to rely on defense, but with that early signing period, that early recruiting period, he said they have recruited for speed and playmakers. That's the need right now for Wilcox. Father of Pro Football Hall of Famer. And meantime, on the other side, Gary Patterson, who, if you ask him anything big picture about college football, he's got some kind of opinion.
Yeah, you're going to get an honest answer, but almost the antithesis of all things in the Big 12. Gary Patterson's program has played defense from Jump Street in Fort Worth, and they played great defense throughout this season. Multiple quarterbacks, as we've talked about, on the offensive side of the ball, but Gary Patterson may have done his finest job of coaching in this 2018 season.
TCU and Cal, first time ever. From the home of the Diamondbacks, off we go, the Cheez It Bowl. And this kickoff checks up and sits down on the sideline. It is out of bounds officially because very smartly the returner put his foot on the sideline, touched the ball first.
Free kick out of bounds.
Out of bounds.
On the kicking team, receiving team player was out of bounds when the ball was touched. Therefore, the ball is out of bounds. Ball being placed at the 35-yard line. First down.
Ashton Davis over there absolutely knew the rule.
And that's the key. You have to know the rule. And Austin Davis is out of bounds, touches the football as he's out of bounds. That means the ball is out of bounds. It's synonymous with kicking the ball out of bounds. And what a heads-up play to start this game by Ashton Davis.
See him put the knee down to make sure that he was making contact. Very smart play. So Cal's offense, Chase Garber is the quarterback to throw. And Laird, the running back, will see a lot of footballs come his way. And here's a young man who has done so much for the community. In April, the Patrick Laird Summer Reading Challenge, 1st through 6th graders. He said, look, read 4 to 6 books, depending on what grade you're in. You get free tickets to the opener. He did that. Nearly 4,000 kids signed up. And here's a young man who has done it the absolute right way. And congratulations to him and what he's been. Garbers keeps his feet and gets cut down at the 49. Vernon Scott with a tackle after a gain of 17. Garber's pretty good on the move on tape, right?
Yeah, and I'm anxious to see how much improved Garber is in terms of getting that 14 practices in bowl prep.
Well, when we talked to Laird, who has a first down gain there, he was speaking very highly of Garber's and his improvement.
Yeah, and then Chase Garber's had obviously some options or activity during the season to play. But once the season was over, when you have 2 weeks of intense practice and you're the guy, that's when you want to see growth. And we'll see if we see that here tonight.
Second down pass, and Remigio got absolutely smoked by Ridwan Isahaku. It's third down coming up. Question is, has Cal seen a defense like TCU?
And I don't think they have. I think, in fact, Chase Garber's told us that. Fast and powerful up front and kind of a pro-style, NFL-style coverage on the back end.
Pressure up the middle. Garber's got it free. And the sideline for a first down to Cunavine Noah, the redshirt junior back from injury.
And the ball came out on time to Noah. Is going to run an out route against that, what turns into a man-to-man coverage on the back end. And that's one of the things that I want to see is better rhythm in that pass game out of Chase Garber's. Make quicker decisions. When does the ball need to come out and where does the ball need to go? And when I get pressure, when do I need to get out of the pocket? All important things tonight for Garber.
Laird in motion. Garbers feels the heat and crumples down back at the 40-yard line. Arico Evans, the middle linebacker, the leading tackler for TCU.
And TCU likes to get pressure, and they typically get pressure without adding someone to that rush in. They're going to, most of the time, pressure with 4, and it's a multiple coverage scheme on the back end, kind of split field scheme that a lot of times turns into man-to-man on the back end for TCU.
Two great defensive ends, Ben Banagou, LJ Collier on that line as Garbers goes to slant. And as a short gain to get the lost yards back to Bo Ways, the Michigan transfer.
And this down and distance right now is going to be important to Chase Garber's. Once you get behind the sticks, and now they're 3rd and 11, Gary Patterson and TCU defensively knows that they most likely are going to have to throw the football. How does Chase Garber's deal with the pressure he's probably going to see right here?
And how do you find your way to an 11-yard gain with that pressure coming? Laird in motion, they throw away from that, and incomplete, well off the mark for Remigio. It's 4th and 11, what are you doing?
You're probably going to punt the ball right here. I would think you play a little bit of field position, but Cal, remember, it's bowl season. Cal looks like they're going to stay out there and run a play. But I like playing field position early in this one because I think possessions are going to be ultra valuable as this one plays out. I think we're in for a defensive slugfest where the offense is going to find those big plays. And I don't know that there are a lot of chunk plays offensively to be had for either offense outside of probably Jalen Rager on the TCU offensive side of the ball.
Rager back to receive this. You wouldn't imagine Cal would give him an opportunity. As this one once again is dropped inside the 20 by Coots, his 33rd inside the 20 this year. So the ballad of Grayson Muehlstein, a young man who was highly thought of coming out of high school, a top recruit, district MVP. He comes on campus to TCU, academic all-star, first team all Big 12, but he hadn't thrown any passes. That was the only thing he hadn't done on campus until all the injuries and the transfers. Justin Rogers, his backup, is hurt, unlikely to play. First career start came on November 24th. He said, look, I didn't know if this was going to happen. I felt like it would. And what a capper for this young man who stuck it out. Shewo Olanolua is his tailback. They've had injuries at that position as well. And Olanolua, who's a load to take down on a first down run of 5.
And JB, out of Grayson Muehlstein, he came in the second quarter, I believe it was, against Baylor because of the injury to Collins, and then started against Oklahoma State. Both games that they had to win, both games that were going to be games that typically would go down to the wire, and you saw the confidence building in this young man where he finally gets his opportunity.
Late choice, he decides to keep, and Muehlstein sets up a 3rd down and 3. Our impact players go.
Yeah, Jalen Reagor, we've talked about it. They're going to get the football to Jalen Reagor in a lot of different ways. And then Weaver and Kanachek is going to be the other guy. The two linebackers have almost 300 tackles between them. So it's physical linebacker play against Reagor, who's going to be all over the field, sometimes at quarterback, sometimes at running back.
They like to get him into space in the formation. We'll talk about why throughout the game. Another run. Muehlstein gets to the corner and has a first down. Kanachek took him toward the edge, but he couldn't stop him before the Parker gain of 4.
And this is an area of the game that you really saw Muehlstein gaining confidence. It's the decision-making in the run game. The most visible decision-making, obviously, to the fans watching is typically the pass game, but it's when to keep the ball or when to give the ball up. And Muehlstein is a sneaky good runner with the football.
And the corner blitz was coming. Travion Beck, 2nd down. Olivia.
Jason, to everything you just said, Gary Patterson said this type of year proves that we have a sustainable program because everyone kept pushing in the face of adversity. So it taught him a lot about his group. But listen, their bowl practices, they had to treat like spring ball. They had to install new things. They had to reteach things to young and inexperienced players. That's something no team wants to do during bowl practice.
Not at all. I mean, sometimes you end up having extra time for those guys, but for TCU, that was the whole central focus of practice. As this one goes down the middle and intercepted. Jalen Hawkins was the only one who knew the ball was thrown, and Cal has a pick.
And these things happen when you're playing your 3rd quarterback. Jerison Stewart, number 22, going down the seam, does not know the ball is coming, but certainly Jalen Hawkins does. And Jalen Hawkins is playing kind of a 2-deep shell look, looking right in at the quarterback. That's exactly what the safety is supposed to do. Break on the football, read the quarterback's eyes, and the quarterback and the receiver, Stewart, were obviously not on the same page.
Cal is now +8 in its last 7 games. When they win the turnover battle, even more than your typical team, they win.
They win games when they win the turnover takeaway. There isn't any question about it, and that's a byproduct of multiple quarterbacks as well.
It's their 2nd foray into TCU territory. Brown, the tailback, it's a launch down the field, and Noah reels it in beautifully inside the 5. Noah back from injury, and he may have hurt himself again on that spectacular grab.
Garber certainly made a great throw to Noah. Noah gets over top of the corner, but this ball had to have some finesse to it. Sharp enough to get there before the safety gets over, but also to get over top of the corner that's playing underneath, and then Noah makes a great play on the ball at the end. You can see the safety coming in late. That ball had enough zip to get there and prevent that safety from breaking it up.
Garbers. Touchdown. He got by Collier to score.
A good decision in the run game by Chase Garbers. It was a true quarterback zone read with Malik McMorris coming from right to left and stalking the defensive end to kick him out. The Garbers does a great job of riding the mesh, the running back into the offensive line, and then he pulls it and finds some softness off to the left side.
So they do pay off the turnover in less than 30 seconds. And the extra point for Greg Thomas is good for Cal.
Yeah, and even in the first 6 games of the year when Cal was 3-3 going into that Oregon State game, the defense had been playing well.
Number 21 for TCU is now wearing number 43.
Was really the turning point.
TCU is now wearing number 43.
Defense really set the tone, completely shut Oregon State down, and that 49-7 win really turned the tide and won some defensive struggles down the way against Washington and USC, as you talked about, JB.
Jalen Rager. A dangerous returner. Rager to the 29. See if TCU's offense can find the ignition. 11 plays, 14 yards on the opening 3 drives. Darius Davis, the freshman, it's not a whole lot. Second down coming up. Now they're going to send Muhlstein in motion, and Rager will take the snap. And he hands it off. You said it off the top. It's not just Wildcat giving the ball. He's going to run quarterback-like plays.
Yeah, Rager actually comes in there and runs what they did right there. True quarterback zone reads where there's a decision to make with Rager at quarterback, and then other times he's actually the running back. There's fly sweep motions where they give it to him in the reverse, and then obviously they'll try to isolate him in the pass game also.
Third down. Muhlstein, quick hitter to the freshman Tay Barber, who got by one man and finds his way right to the stick. It is a first down, and Barber now has a catch in every game this year as a freshman. Quick hitter again from Muhlstein. And Jerrison Stewart, who got crossed up on that interception earlier, and TCU into plus territory for the first time.
And TCU wanting to play fast for the first time because they're finally putting a couple of plays back to back, which allows an offense to go up tempo.
He looked off the screen. Muhlstein runs into Kunashik, who with 133 tackles would be the leader on most other teams in college football or the NFL.
Kunashik is such a heady player. The football IQ and his study habits are epic. He's rarely out of place, and both Kunashik and Weaver want to do damage when they arrive at the football.
Weaver number 1 in tackles, Kunashik 2. Cal's defense has owned the day so far. They punched in the touchdown off the turnover. 7-zip in the first meeting between the Golden Bears and the Horned Frogs. Welcome back to the 2018 Cheez It Bowl, where you can argue that the defense has been extra toasty so far. 7-0, Cal with the lead. An interception led to a score 2 plays later. And here we go, second quarter, first meeting ever, TCU and Cal. That star player, Jalen Rager, in motion. He can throw back to Muhlstein. Where's this going? Who knows? The other way. Flags everywhere. Hawkins' second pick inside the 20.
Illegal forward pass.
Everything.
Number 17, offense, through his second forward pass. The penalties decline. The result of the play is first down, Cal.
I asked Sonny Cumbie if Rager could throw the football, and he wasn't forthright with the answer. But
where's this supposed to go, you think?
I think it is a throw back to Rager, because see all the guys out there ready to block for him. It was almost like a throwback type of, almost like a kickoff where they run to one side and throw it back to the other.
So it's supposed to be another throw to Rager.
I think it's supposed to be a throwback to Rager, as near as I can tell, but that was a disaster, and Hawkins was there to take advantage of it. Sonny Cumbie wouldn't really answer the question when I said, can Rager throw the football? And I think the answer was because he's going to.
Yeah, maybe a couple times even. See if Cal again cashes in. Laird inviting contact to the 14.
Well, the thing, Jason, that Sonny Cumbie told us is for TCU, he had to get creative. I mean, 3 different quarterbacks, and you lose playmakers. Darius Anderson was the home run hitter at the running back position. They lost him, so creativity is front and center, and that was a good example of it, but it didn't go well for TCU on that one.
Garber's on play action. Intercepted! Nico Small! To the 44. The defenses smell points tonight.
We talked about the growth of Garbers, and this is not a good example of it. Small is going to be the safety to that side, and there was a route that went in front of Small that Garbers was anticipating would take Small with it, and that did not happen. You can't guess as a quarterback. You can't make up your mind before the play, and that appears to be what Garber did there. That inside route was designed to take that inside safety, Nico Small, with the route and leave that seam post to Mo Mays as the guy that would be open on that, but Garber's made up his decision before he actually threw that football.
Leading TCU to the 45. DiMercado crashes down for a gain of 1. Second down and 9 coming up. Tevin Paul, who only had 38 tackles to clean up this year next to Konashik and Weaver because they had 275 together.
That's a pretty good year.
If you're the next door neighbor, you're like, what do I get to do?
There's nothing left. I mean, there are only so many tackles in a game, and 59 and 89 get the vast majority of them. Have you ever been a part of a game where there's almost 300 tackles between 2 linebackers?
I've never seen it. I mean, 23 a game for those guys. Muhlstein felt the heat, gave away the pocket, threw it across his body, and Konashik ripped it off. Fifth interception in 16 minutes and change.
Well, the negative trifecta for a quarterback, and you named every one of them. Late and across your body and to the middle of the field, and Konashik is a heady guy that is just watching the quarterback at that point. Konashik has already dropped into his coverage. Now he's mirroring the quarterback as Muhlstein gets outside and is just there to take the football.
A young man who told us that football basically saved his life, Jordan Konashik, out of the Sacramento area. Laird on the ground, but Konashik, he said, look, he was hanging out with the wrong guys. He didn't get good grades at all in school, and he just made a decision his junior year of high school, like, hey, I need to do this for me. So, and he was very frank about this. It's not that he shut out his friends. He still talks to them sometimes, those people from his past, but he had to make a change and put himself around people that he felt like were better influences on him. Has turned into a very good student at Cal. He says with the one class he was taking to finish his degree this year, he basically took tape watching as a full load, and you talked about his preparation. He also is quite the charitable human being. This is a trip to Mexico for Jordan Konashik, and he understands how much giving back means as well.
I loved what Justin Wilcox said about Jordan, and Justin said Jordan is one of those guys that when you talk to him, you come away and think, you know what? I need to be just a little bit better. That's the effect that he has on people, and what a tremendous story. And I think he also gave those good friends an opportunity to change along with him and was willing to make that hard decision.
Garber's flushed out, and he wings it out of bounds. So 4th down on the way.
So we need Fast Eddie's Fita to get on this. A game that's all about how many points are scored off of turnovers. The team that scores the most, I think, is going to be in the driver's seat with this one. And right now, Cal leads that category 7-0.
Yeah, and the yards per play for TCU at 1.5, 5 interceptions total. Coots to Rager, and a fair catch that he has to step up for, and in peril, pull in right around the 15. You want picks? You want picks? We got picks. Here they are. You said you wanted them.
Really good defense. There's also been some really dreadful quarterback decision making.
Who knows where this is going, right? It's a fun night so far. Five interceptions in the game so far in the last 6:53, in fact. So we'll see if the offenses can calm this down. As Grayson Muehlstein takes the Horned Frogs back out. Can't have a running play intercepted, but it can go for a loss.
Well, and make sure that people understand that double pass debacle by TCU. I think it was designed for the quarterback Grayson Muehlstein to be behind Rager, and it'd be a backward pass so he could throw it forward. In the end, it was both forward, and that's illegal. That's where they got off the rails, and that was before Muehlstein threw it to the other team.
Yeah, that was an interesting play, to say the least.
The design lacked clarity there.
2nd down. Olanolua head first to set up 3rd down and 2. You mentioned the name earlier, Darius Anderson, out for the year. They lose that home run threat offensively in the running back spot.
Well, that's why you see Sonny Cumbie trying to come up with ways to get chunks. We know they want to get the ball to Jalen Rager, and you can use Rager as a decoy as well, as they tried to do on that reverse double pass debacle. But I think Sonny Cumbie said, you know what, it might be a decent idea to go ahead and run the football a little bit.
They've been 53% run this year, which is a little bit shocking considering Sonny Cumbie's history as a quarterback at Texas Tech. They were 55% run last year. Muehlstein keeps it, goes head first in order to give himself the 1st down. If he slid, it would have been where the slide started. Instead, he leans for the 1st down.
Kanashik was scraping over the top and had the quarterback, but Muehlstein didn't need much. And you're exactly right. I think out of necessity, when TCU lost Darius Anderson, that big play chunk type of running back, it was how are we going to find those plays now? And they went to running it just a little bit more and then creative ways to get Jalen Rager the football.
They run away from the towel that ended up in the middle of the formation, and a gain of about 6 for Olanolua.
JB, Olivia was talking about the fact that Rager appears to be banged up. I thought it was an awfully quick fair catch signal out of Rager as well. Those are typically, that was a good punt by Cal, but those are typically plays where he will make a late fair catch, or he will make a very, very courageous play and catch the football and try to get something done. And he didn't act like he was interested in that right there.
Olanolua, TCU's largest gain of the night by far. It was 9 previously. That goes for 25.
And Olanolua is just a very decisive runner, not real shifty, nothing like Darius Anderson, more of the home run hitter that was lost for the season, but he's decisive, and Olanolua was decisive on that play right there. Pull a couple of linemen out in front of the bigger back at 230 and get downhill quickly.
Rager in the backfield on 1st down, under 2 to go in the half. Muehlstein giving ground, wanted the screen, it's batted away. Chris Palmer, the defensive lineman, got a hand in, and it's second down.
Yeah, Tay Barber, the slot receiver to the top side in that trips formation, was going to be that screen back on that play, but well diagnosed by Cal defensively.
It's a young man as a freshman out of Side Springs High in Cypress, Texas, is second on the team with 30 catches coming in. Early enrollee Barber to get to spring practice, and it's paid off for him. DeMercado on second down gives him a third and medium as Jalen Hawkins, who has 2 picks, makes the tackle. You just want some points here, right?
Yeah, and I think TCU, to me, has a better feel on this drive. They're running it well. You have to commit to running the football in order for the offensive line to kind of get into the rhythm of the run game, and I think Sonny Cumbie has done a better job of that as a play caller on this drive.
Muehlstein, the senior who waited for his chance, hands it off and gives him a 4th down and about 2.5 coming up. What are you doing?
I think TCU goes for it right here. I think that was exactly why they ran the football on 3rd down, to try to get it to 4th and more manageable.
They do get the ball after halftime as well, TCU does. Muehlstein, pressure. Muehlstein goes down. Sacked by Cal's Travion Beck, and Evan Rambo got in there to finish the deal, so Rambo closes out the drive.
And we saw Jalen Rager in motion, and this was simply going to be a rub route when Rager gets out wide. Rager does not look right, first of all, but that's what allowed Rambo to finally close in and get to the quarterback, Muehlstein. That was going to be receivers going up the field. Rager was going to go to the flat, and essentially it's a big play outside that didn't work well.
So Garbers to run. Cal trying to get into field goal range possibly as he goes knee first to the 44. Cal has 2 timeouts remaining. They'll move the chains and stop the clock. Now the official just wound the clock before the chains were set. As that ball is intercepted by Jeff Gladney for TCU. And Gladney leaves some time for the Horned Frogs as turnover number 6 pops on the board.
Noah was the Cal receiver in the area, running kind of the fade route outside, and then Gladney was the corner that initially was rolled up into the flat. But if Gladney doesn't have a receiver to cover, Gladney's going to continue to get depth, and Garbers just simply has to be aware of that, and obviously was not on that play.
TCU 2 timeouts. Muehlstein has to climb the pocket, and this is going to do it for the first half as he has to sling it out of bounds. Kadashik came with the pressure. 7 points, 7 punts, 6 turnovers. TCU will get the ball after halftime. The first time shutout in the first half all year since the Oklahoma game last December. So 7-0 here. We'll see what Chris Cotter has in store inside the studio. Cotter, take it away. And we welcome you back to the 2018 Cheez It Bowl. Beautiful night in Phoenix. The traffic has been on the defensive side today so far. 7-0 as we take a look at our ServPro first half stats. Our first half stats brought to you by ServPro. 7-0 Cal with the lead, 3 picks each way. Total yards about 228 officially. He's Kelly Stauffer. I'm Jason Benetti. Olivia Decker downstairs. Look, how do the offenses figure this thing out?
It'll be interesting to see. We knew that the cornerstone of both teams is their defense. Both offenses are playing with quarterbacks that obviously didn't get it figured out in that first half. So I don't know what the adjustments, other than making better decisions at that one position. That's about the best you can do.
Well, we'll see how the second half looks, but 6 turnovers in that first half to go along with 7 points. TCU will have the ball coming out of the half.
And both quarterbacks started actually fairly well, but then they got into very, very poor ball management in that second quarter.
Through the end zone. Jalen Reagor has been dinged up over on the sideline, and TCU offensively, you got Muhlstein, the quarterback, 4 for 14. 3 picks. So they will run it on the 1st and 15, as Olivia just caught up moments ago with Gary Patterson.
Well, Coach, you've gotten 75 return yards off of 3 interceptions, but no points to show for it. How can you capitalize on those opportunities?
Well, you know, like I said earlier, we were 4-6 going in the last 3 games, minus 12 in turnover, and in the last 3, we were +6. And so we've got to quit turning it over. We got to capitalize. We got to make some plays. And defensively, we got to do a better job in their empty sets of containing the quarterback. Got to tackle, and you know, these kind of ball games, the one that wants it in the second half is usually the one that wins. So we better want it more.
And your receiver, Jalen Reagor, has seemed limited and not himself after that last injury. Is he full go for the second half?
You know, nobody said anything to me, but it's a good question.
Let me know when you do.
All right, Will.
Thanks, Coach.
So nobody's told Gary Patterson about his best player.
That is a good question. I'm telling you right now, whatever Gary Patterson has been told or not, Jalen Reagor does not look right. Right now, Sonny Cumbie, offensively for TCU, is using Reagor as more of a decoy than anything else, but certainly not building touches for the young man.
They'll run it away from the trip side. TCU likes to do that quite a bit. They had 3 receivers to the boundary side and a wide open field on the left side. Typically, that's where you'll see Reagor.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So it forces a defense to make a choice. Are you going to defend the formation, which is into the boundary, or are you going to defend the field, which in many cases is Reagor by himself, isolated to the wide part of the field? Right now, TCU does not have that at their disposal.
Muhlstein going for it all, too much. Incomplete for Jalen Austin. And it's 3rd down. The good news for TCU fans is they've been down 31-0 in a bowl game they've won before, so 7-0 is child's play, although this is not the same offense as a couple years ago.
Yeah, there are some commonalities in that epic Alamo Bowl comeback. There isn't any question about it, but Grayson Muhlstein has to find somewhere for plays to be made. When you don't have Jalen Reagor as his normal self, where do those plays come from? That's a huge question mark.
Muhlstein, maybe it's with his legs. He was in front of the line of scrimmage, and it's picked off anyway. The 3rd for Jalen Hawkins. Flag down, probably for an illegal forward pass.
Number 7, offense, was beyond the line of scrimmage where he threw the pass. The penalties declined. The result of the play is an interception and a 1st down.
Grayson Muhlstein actually would probably have the 1st down if he runs it. He's, I think, clearly across the line of scrimmage, and that's his 2nd illegal forward pass.
Number
We saw the
17.
double pass
Number
debacle.
17.
Second one that's been intercepted. Jalen Hawkins is the best robber of illegal forward passes this bowl season.
Yeah, 2 out of his 3 have come on illegal forward passes by the quarterback. Muhlstein makes a bad decision. He has the line to gain if he just runs that ball.
And Chase Forrest has checked in to play quarterback for Cal here in the second half. Handoff goes for some good yardage on 1st down to Christopher Brown, the freshman. So now we've got both senior quarterbacks who are scholarship quarterbacks, the only 2 who started the season in the FBS without a snap. They're both playing quarterback in the same bowl game. And now Forrest on the scramble, unloads it. And this is going nowhere. Jeremiah Hawkins. Jordan Duncan out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi, played for Brett Favre in high school. So he might be a deep ball or two in his past.
Forced to prove it through the air, and Chase Forrest did exactly that.
Forrest drops it off to Brown. And third down coming up for Cal as they get to just about the spot where TCU decided to punt from. But Brett Favre, as a guy, it looked like he was kind of teaching himself on the fly when he was playing football. But he and Jordan Duncan got to know each other very well in Hattiesburg. Really good for Brett giving back to his game. Third down for Forrest. And this is incomplete. Jeremiah Hawkins wasn't out of the break yet. And it's fourth down coming up. But TCU does not win, at least for now, pending punt, the field position game it decided to play.
Exactly, and that's what I think this game is about, although I still would have gone for it in fourth and 3 links of a chain, but you flip the field. That pass from Forrest to Duncan allows that to happen right now, and field position at a premium in this one.
Coots punting to Rager. This one he will run. Breaks one tackle. Rager on his way outside. Jalen Rager hurdles across the 35. There is a field position flip for TCU's electric sophomore.
Jason, we've talked about it multiple times tonight. Jalen Rager is that guy on the field collectively, let alone for TCU, that can change things in a heartbeat. I do not know why Stephen Coots kicks the football to number 1. The one player in this game that can change things dramatically, instantly.
TCU, after a 58-yard punt return from Rager, starts with a run, which has been successful here in the second half. DeMercado. Second down. It's been over 30 minutes since the last score, the only score.
Well, needless to say, this is kind of a dirtied up, muddy game, right? We knew the defenses were good. The offenses have not been good. And so all of that has been amplified. So why does Stephen Coots punt the football to the one player in this game that can flip the field? And
why?
Why doesn't he kick it out of bounds anywhere but to number 1 for TCU?
Goes in motion right here. Rager creates some traffic, and they get it across the 25 for a first down with DeMercado. So TCU passing so far today has 10 yards. Rager goes for 58. If there's a punt return play in the offensive playbook, although you don't want to go too deep in the playbook after the double pass from earlier.
You don't want to do that. And I would like to say that stat right there, graphic, surprises me, but it's felt that bad. That is not a surprise at all. 10 yards passing.
And here's a guy in Muhlstein who played very well in those final 2 games when he had a chance. Got him to this bowl game. So this has been the outlier compared to what we saw at the end of the regular season for TCU. Lua, the tailback, thundering ahead for an extra yard or 2.
Jason, Grayson Muhlstein's experience up to now was part-time in the Baylor game, and he was under adverse circumstances because of field position in that game. What ended up being a low-scoring game that TCU wins against Oklahoma State, has a whole week to practice with the ones that he was excited about. But the thing he did in that game, he got the ball to playmakers. Chief among them, Rager. Well, Rager hasn't been that playmaker tonight. Hasn't been himself.
He's the man in motion here, Rager. Muhlstein to run, and he's just short of the 15. So third down coming up, and looking a little beyond that if they don't get this. Does Gary Patterson want to kick the field goal as he played conservatively a couple of minutes ago? Now Rager looks like he's pretty frustrated.
Rager has primarily been used as a decoy. There isn't any question about that, but this play right here, I get it. Grayson Muehlstein in a situation where he has to do something like a quarterback zone read and potentially keep the football. Make a good decision in the run game right here.
Rager's one-on-one with Hicks, and they will run it. This is short by 2 yards.
I think you have
with the tackle.
I think you have to get why the getting's good right here.
You're going to kick?
No, I'm going for it, but it's longer than 3 chain legs. You may not have this good of opportunity in this bloodbath here tonight. So TCU, I think, has to find a way to convert and try to get in the end zone.
Well, Muehlstein just came off the field. So Olanalua is the Wildcat. 4th down and 2. Olanalua. No reverse, he runs it himself. 1st down and more. Olanalua, a runaway truck for 6.
Once again, Jalen Rager was used as the decoy. In that fly motion late, Rager was coming across the formation behind Olanalua, but it was a design heavy run to the right side. Multiple big bodies in. And
the ruling is the runner's knee was down with the ball short of the goal line. It'll be 1st and goal, TCU. The clock will start on my signal.
And on that signal, by the way, we were talking about this end of the 1st half while we have a moment. After a 1st down, the clock should start when the ball is spotted and ready for play at the referee's discretion. So that is the rule that we were talking about earlier. Here, off the replay, it'll be referee's discretion off the timeout.
Yeah, and that's the key. It's at the referee's discretion. It looked to be in a hurry to us up here, but it has nothing to do with the chain gang. It has to do with the ball being spotted, and the referee then has the ability to wind the clock, and did so probably exactly like he thought he should.
Olanalua once again playing quarterback. Olanalua at the goal line and not through the goal line.
End of the 3rd quarter.
That'll do it for quarter number 3. TCU rapping on the door, but not in yet. Just 1 score so far, and this close for the boys from Fort Worth as we go to the 4th.
Play will resume after the media timeout.
Olanalua on that last run did get in according to instant replay. Ruling on the field overturned. It's a touchdown. Here's why.
And a great job by the replay booth. Just before that right knee of Olanalua goes down, he reaches across and penetrates that goal line. That's all he needed. And so we aren't officially in the 4th quarter yet. 1 untimed down before we actually turn the clock to quarter number 4.
They're going to give 3 seconds to the clock operator, so the extra point for Jonathan Song. And a windfall for those of you out there saying, I need more Cheez It Bowl 3rd quarter. It's been a wild game. The defenses have owned it so far, but it's one of those games that you kind of have the feeling something bizarre is going to break this tie as we go down the final 15:03.
Yeah, initially we thought it was an untimed down, but that wasn't the case. We get this gift of 3 seconds back on the clock in the 3rd quarter.
Cal will have 1 more play here in the 3rd quarter. Downstairs, Olivia.
And Paul Carcaterra is the reporter on that game, and he was saying that's Manny Diaz coaching his last game for Miami. He said this is a huge loss, something we should monitor.
Well, and Manny Diaz will go and coach that game, as he said, as Corey Bentley gets a sack to close out the 3rd quarter, and TCU's getting lively.
End of the 3rd quarter.
In the warmth of Chase Field.
Just inside penetration by Bentley. He is known for getting pressure from the interior, as he has those guys coming off the edge in Collier and Banagoo, which we've seen earlier in this game.
TCU's defense is eaten right now. LJ Collier lost it 2.
We just talked about that. Bethel comes from the inside, and then Collier and Banagoo strap it on and come off the edges. Collier's more of, they call him Thunder and Lightning, and the Thunder is Collier and the Lightning Banagoo off the opposite edge.
3rd and 20, that's the 8th tackle for loss for TCU. Down the sideline, battle for it, incomplete. Jordan Duncan covered by Lewis, who had a pick earlier. And now 4th down. Imagine what that TCU defensive line would have been like if Ross Blacklock hadn't gotten hurt in fall camp, as you see Lewis's effort.
And Gary Patterson told us that exact thing, and that's just one of the many bodies that TCU is down. Julius Lewis is the best cover guy on the back end for TCU. I would not pick on him tonight.
You kicking to Rager here?
No, I'm not. Whatever happened to kicking directionally away from those punt returners that can change games?
That was a high snap, so a little scramble here to get it off. Rager lets it bounce once, and he's got a shot. Jalen Rager right up the zipper across the 40, and a flag comes in.
During the return, holding number 30 return team. Penalties 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Now.
Well, that high snap could foul up the best laid plans. He had to hurry to punt it. And now they're going to go Wildcat. Olanolua is down. So Rogers has this condition called drop foot, where the nerve in his leg isn't communicating with the nerve in his foot. So the foot kind of just slides, as Muhlestein went into the tent earlier. So they're having to go to Rogers, who doesn't have full use of one of his feet. It's been a strange season for both teams, and it's going to end in even more bizarre fashion.
My goodness.
How mobile is Rogers? And we're going to find out real fast. He shed Weaver, and Rogers goes down. That's very last on the list of things they wanted to see, is somebody unabated at the guy who's dealing with a foot problem.
And Justin Rogers does not see the blitzer whatsoever. Kanashik was the blitzer off the edge from his linebacker position, moved from the inside to the outside, came off the edge, and Justin Rogers was not only fortunate to bounce off of that one, but fortunate to hang on to the football.
Yeah, it was Kanashik that was coming in hard. 3rd down and 12. He gets rid of it quickly. Olanolua goes down. Cameron Bynum with the stop. 4th down. Gary Patterson jokingly at the end of the season said, if we go any deeper in the quarterback depth chart, I'm going to have to take some reps.
Yeah, and that obviously would not be pretty. But Justin Rogers, it's an interesting story, that drop foot condition from the knee injury. It's his plant foot, his right foot, that is causing problems, and so you can't really drive into your throw as a quarterback. That's trouble.
Fair catch for Remigio at the 11. 50-yard punt, no return. Beautiful night, beautiful defense. 7-7, a great finish on the way. Christmas Eve, TCU players teamed up with the MDA for a day of bowling. Games with kids here in Phoenix. Grayson Muhlstein's warming up. Rogers came in for one series. He got popped a couple times. And now Muhlstein out of the tent and getting loose in a 7-7 game. Question may be, which defense makes the big play?
Well, TCU has a great opportunity right here. TCU's defense has forced 2 straight 3-and-outs since TCU's offense scored that touchdown after the Rager punt return. So TCU could control the game right here with a great defensive effort.
Forrest, the second quarterback of the day for Cal, gives it to Brown, who's in for the injured Laird. 2nd down on the way.
JB, Cal only has 3 first downs in this half. So think about this. TCU defensively, if they can force a 3-and-out, get some field position, depending on who's playing quarterback for TCU, they could be in the driver's seat with the possession late in the 4th quarter here.
Brown turns it upfield. It's a first down for Cal. Number 4 of the half is a Haku again on a gain of 8.
fourth first down of this second half is a huge one because TCU's defense, as I just said, had forced 2 straight 3-and-outs, and Cal couldn't afford to have that done on this drive.
Brown again kept his feet for long enough to extend it to 8. Christopher Brown's been important since the injury to Laird. Brown puts his head down and pushes for the first down. Question for you. As the ball may have come out, TCU is pointing the other way, but the officials say
Oh, the field as the runner was
he forced
before the ball came loose. First down, Cal.
I think it's all about the snap count. I think that's what that has to do with, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, he was down, right?
Yeah, I don't think there's a question, and his forward momentum had stopped anyway. But with Laird out, remember how Cal won down the stretch here, 4 out of 6 games. It's hooking the wagon to Patrick Laird.
Forrest across his body into traffic and trouble and picked off. Another interception. Vernon Scott this time.
And once again, this is good defense by Scott finishing the play, but it's dreadful decision-making by a quarterback. Throwing it late back inside, and that could have been picked off by one of a couple of TCU defenders, and just a bad decision by Chase Forrest. Waited a long time to get his opportunity to play, and it's hard to see things out there as a quarterback in the heat of the moment if you don't have the experience.
You don't get to play much. You want to do more than your share.
Yeah, and that's the one position in football. The more you try to do, many times the worse it gets because you're tied to the other 10 players on the field, and Chase Forrest just doesn't have the experience in terms of reps on the field to have learned that.
Now Muhlstein in motion. Barber is the Wildcat back. Running the option with Rager. Barber slices upfield. And we'll see what TCU has in store down the stretch here with a full complement of timeouts. Olanalua running hard all night long. And third down and short again. Kanashik with the stop.
Yeah, and if I'm Cal defensively right now, I force the ball into Grayson Muhlstein's hands. Either throwing the football because he's looked gimpy to say the least after he came out of the medical tent. And Tim DeRuyter would know that. If we know it, rest assured that Tim DeRuyter knows it. His people feeding him information upstairs, and you want number 17 Grayson Muhlstein to have to make a play even though he's not 100% healthy.
He's thrown for just 8 yards in this game on 5 completions. So they run into the line and driven back. Olanalua didn't get there. Evan Weaver sets up fourth down. What's your choice here?
Just check out the replay of Muhlstein going outside. Nobody checks the quarterback, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. As a defensive coordinator in that zone read, and that probably was a call to give all the way to Olanalua, but you force the quarterback to carry the football. And the same thing right here. If I'm defense, Cal's defense currently, I sell out to the running back and force the ball into Muhlstein's hands once again, and he's not even going to carry the football.
Now they're at the line in formation. Olanalua playing the quarterback role. A lot of talking by Olanalua. It is a power play to the right. Does he have enough? No, sir! Cal holds the line. Jalen Hawkins and his crew get the stop.
Well, TCU can do all they want in terms of window dressing. Olanalua doing a lot of stuff before the snap, but personnel-wise, there really wasn't anything to be done there except a power play to the right, which is exactly the stuff that Olanalua scored on. The same type of play, and The reason Cal burned the timeout, I believe, is they wanted, it's called a Polaroid play. They want to take a picture of what TCU wants to do offensively, call a timeout, and at the very least force TCU to do something other than the play they wanted to be in.
Forrest a little bit high. He was rescued by Ways. Up the sideline, Bo Ways. And a first down, Cal. The Michigan transfer for 22.
And a big body at 6'4", 220. He's out there by himself because I think TCU was running a cat blitz off the corner. And then I think the corner got a little bit bashful about it because he didn't see the safety rotating in order to cover it. Gladney was the corner that was coming on the blitz, and I don't think Gladney was confident the safety was getting over top to help that blitz off the corner.
Another throw to the far side and absolutely dropped. That's an incomplete pass to McMorris. TCU wanted to swallow it up and run with Collier. It's second down.
And McMorris is, as far as the depth chart is concerned, called a fullback, but essentially he's the 6th offensive lineman. And he's actually very athletic at 5'11", almost 300 pounds. We've seen on tape that he is typically a very good catcher of the football.
7 catches this year, 5 more than he's got running plays. This is a run on second down for Brown, who got busted by Collier at the 40. 3rd down and 5, and looking ahead, Greg Thomas, the Cal kicker, his long this year is 46. That would put them at the 29.
You got to get Chase Forrest outside the pocket. First of all, to get away from the pressure that he's going to feel from TCU defensively, but it also cuts the field in half and really simplifies the read that the quarterback Forrest will have on this play.
He started the second half, Forrest, the senior, on 3rd down. Unloads and incomplete. Nico Small jumped it well. He got in front of Remigio. 4th down.
Remigio coming on the crossing route, and Nico Small plays this extremely well. Reaching somewhat with his right arm around the body of the receiver, but makes a great play on the football at the same time.
Cal's going to line up to punt here and play the field position with 2 timeouts left. TCU has 3. Both teams believe their defenses are their best unit by far right now.
And Cal believes their punter, Coots, is exceptionally good at pinning the opposition inside the 20.
Fair catch for Rager with his heels on the 10. TCU with 2 and change to go in the Cheez It Bowl. In a deadlock when we come back. They will run. Olanalua trying to scramble. Timeout called by Cal. Tevin Ball with the stop. So Cal will have 1 timeout remaining
charge
after
timeout.
that.
Cal.
Trying to get the ball back with ample time for its senior quarterback, Forrest. Well, in this Cal defense, don't forget, with all those numbers we saw, they're better than usual, and they're a top 20 defense typically, but TCU runs through them there. Olanalua with a first down gain of 9. So now TCU in the mode where maybe they can make this final drive stick and get the win, rather than sapping the timeouts for Cal. Junior tailback Shewo Olanalua, his mother a professor at Texas Southern. He was 2nd string starting the year. Darius Anderson out. Olanalua up the middle. Across midfield, first down TCU. Davis and Hicks tracked him down. It's a rip at 33.
And in this critical situation, TCU has said, you know what, we think we can get something done between the tackles. Olanalua is a physical back. Our offensive linemen have been challenged, I guarantee you, on the sideline between those series, and they're getting it done up front currently.
TCU subbing out an offensive lineman. Cordell Iwagwu had to come out, so they lost a bunch of time. DeMercado picking his way, and down he goes. Luke Beckett with the stop and a gain of 1.
Gary Patterson is going to use his first timeout. We'll have
First charge
2
timeout
left at this
to
point.
you. 30-second timeout.
Drive started at their own 10 for Muehlstein, who waited his turn to play. Now he fires for Jalen Austin, who gets torpedoed inside the 30. First down, TCU.
Austin was matched up on Hicks outside, and Hicks just gave way too much room on Austin. That was like stealing on the quick slant from Muehlstein to Austin.
Under 40 seconds. Muehlstein still with a couple timeouts. DeMercado driven back by Funches, and you'd use the timeout here, you'd imagine.
Yeah, definitely.
Second charge
Song,
timeout.
we told you, as long as 46.
30-second
He's only
timeout.
1 for 3 from 40 plus this year. You know, it's an interesting situation kicking-wise for Gary Patterson. You've got Song and Bunce, who both have kicked field goals this year. Song was warming up, but their long combined is the 46 that Song hit earlier this season. And now they'll go Olanalua and Rager in the backfield on a 2nd down and 10 with 1 timeout remaining. Rager going the other way. How much speed does he have? It's Weaver to track him down. And TCU lets the clock move. 1 timeout left. Why?
Gary Patterson is going to see if one of his kickers can kick a game winner right here.
But why not run 1 more play and try to pick up a couple more yards?
Just don't risk the ball handling is the only thing I can think of.
Well, it's the
Final
picks that have been the nobody's
TCU.
fumbled tonight.
30-second
Everybody's
timeout.
throwing interceptions.
Yeah, I think get Olanalua in the game one more time and pound it up in there and try to gain something. I think every yard is important for whichever kicker TCU throws out there on this one. I'm with you.
It's going to be either 44 or 45 for whichever kicker they decide on, and it's going to be Cole Bunce, it looks like, with Song still on the sideline.
Well, let's be honest, Gary Patterson hasn't had a great deal of confidence in either one of his kickers. If one misses it, the other one gets the chance the next time.
Cole Bunce. From 44. Bunce. And it is no good. We're going to overtime. Chase Forrest has played the entire 2nd half at quarterback for the freshman Garbers. Cal runs on 1st down with Brown looking for a seam, and he nearly lost his jersey. 2nd down coming up, Terrell Cooper, the freshman, with the stop for TCU.
Chase Forrest, it took him 5 years to really get a significant opportunity to play, and he's probably ultra excited that this night hasn't ended yet.
Yeah, why not extend your career, huh? Redshirt senior out of Santa Ana. He and Muehlstein started the season as the 2 scholarship seniors not to take a snap for their teams. Pump and goes worked well. Collier got dragged around. Forrest unloads out of bounds. The TCU partisans are begging for a flag as Daltoso, the left tackle, took Collier to a dance lesson, and it's 3rd down.
Well, that dance was going on in the backfield. The pump outside didn't work because it was a corner underneath and a safety over the top, and you're exactly right. Collier thought he had the quarterback Forrest in hand, and that might have been a hold.
Third down. Forrest cuts it loose. Intercepted. Jawan Johnson for TCU. All the way to the 11-yard line. Pick number 9.
Of course. Jawan Johnson just sinks underneath the curl right outside. Johnson was dropping inside, read the quarterback's eyes, and continued just to let the eyes take the defender to the football, and then he makes a great play on it.
Jake Curran, the right tackle for Cal, saved the game by getting down
Sideline
there to make the stop.
On TCU.
That was a tremendous
15-yard penalty
play
being forced on the succeeding spot.
330
This possession is over. TCU's ball, 1st and 10 on the 40-yard line.
Extended this game.
There's a sideline warning as well off this return, sideline interference.
Yeah, up at the top, the official actually runs into someone in the TCU bench area.
So TCU from the 40. Mulestein, quick throw. He's got the freshman Meeking. Give him 4.
JB, this game should actually end on a pick 6.
It nearly ended on a pick 6 when a guy careened into another guy, and it wouldn't have even stuck as a touchdown.
That's true. That isn't stopping Cal from having our 10th interception of the game and running one back all the way. Stay tuned for this one.
A zany night at the home of the Diamondbacks, Chase Field in Phoenix. Again, a towel in the way. That's the 3rd time one has shown up with TCU on offense. Olanalua tunneling about a yard short. It'll be 3rd and 1 for TCU. And again, their longest field goal this year was 46 from Jonathan Song.
And TCU has a free play outside to Jalen Rager if they want it. Bynum is playing soft coverage. He's bailing. At least he was that last play. The hitch outside would be a gimme, and now Bynum's tightening coverage on Jalen Rager outside.
Low snap. Olanalua nearly got by the 3rd level. Hawkins may have saved a touchdown. 1st down TCU.
And what we've seen on the last couple of times that TCU has had the ball is the offensive line of scrimmage is starting to be moved by TCU's offensive line. They didn't get this type of push for about 3.5 quarters, and they're getting it now.
They're working on Olanalua on the sideline, so DeMercado comes in. You wouldn't imagine a pass is coming at all in this sequence as Mulestein's 7 for 20 for 27 yards in the game. DeMercado. 2nd down. When do you kick? Do you kick?
That's a great question. Gary Patterson, I guarantee you, does not want to kick, but when you kick is certainly the question, and I'm not sure I know the answer to that because Gary Patterson doesn't have a ton of confidence in any kicker that even has purple on over on the sideline.
He foreshadowed something like this during the week when he talked to us and said, I'll take a win no matter how I get it. Put it in a brown paper bag and just hand it to me. I'll do it. This has been one of the wildest games you're going to see. They're driving for the win. Olanalua back in. He slams on the brakes, and Hawkins drives him back, but he does extend to the 15.
Well, the kicker question, since Cole Bunce missed the potential game winner, are we assuming that Jonathan Song is going to be in to get the 2nd opportunity to close this one out? They might put Jalen Rager out there to kick the game-winning field goal. Who knows?
They'd rather just punch it in. They're both over by Gary Patterson. His 3rd down goes to Olanalua. And he looks like he's going to be just short of the line to gain, depending on the spot. The far side official had him short. The near side official looks like he's got him there. And it will be a 1st down for TCU.
And Gary Patterson was sending the kicker onto the field, and I think he took a big sigh of relief when the official said it was a 1st down. Does Alamalua get the push that was needed?
Tough to overturn by that look. DiMercado back in. Right into the pile. Downstairs, Olivia.
Goal that sent us into overtime. It's interesting to note that the snapper was playing his first game because their original snapper was hurt. Now also, if they're going to kick again here, it's going to be Jonathan Song. Players have been coming up to him and tapping him on the helmet. He's itching to get out there.
He was itching to get out there on the first one. He was out there for a moment, and then Bunce was sent back in by Gary Patterson. Second down. Another handoff. And another short run for DiMercado. It's a loss of one. Third down and long for TCU. Well, we can't say because it's behind closed doors, but maybe the footballs were placed in the humidor tonight. Only 14 points so far in Arizona.
Maybe they should have been placed in the humidor.
DiMercado driving for extra yards. It's going to be a 27-yard effort for the win for TCU.
And JB, Cal did get penetration on that last field goal attempt that Bunce missed right up the middle, and sometimes that has a way of making the kicker flinch just a little bit.
And Jonathan Song for the win for TCU. Song. And it's harmony for TCU in the Cheez It Bowl. 10-7 in overtime. Jonathan Song, who was on the field before, he was pulled back for Bunce at the end of regulation. And it was a beautiful song for TCU in a game that ran pretty long.
Ooh-wee. Remember how that ball got down there, and offensive line for TCU kind of took things over the last couple of times that TCU had possession of the football.
10-7 your final score. TCU rushes for 262 and throws for 28. Cal lost its starting game due to injury. Their starting quarterback got benched at halftime. And they still pushed it to overtime. This was baling wire and chewing gum all night long for both of these teams. And TCU got to the finish line. Congratulations to the Horned Frogs, who go to 7-6 to finish this year. As we go downstairs for the trophy presentation, and Olivia.
Good evening on a late night after an overtime win for TCU. Congratulations to the Horned Frogs. Joining me are Cheez It Bowl Chairman of the Board, Stephen Leach, and Executive Director, Mike Neely, to present the Cheez It Bowl Championship Trophy to head coach Gary Patterson and the TCU Horned Frogs. Stephen, make the first presentation, please.
Gentlemen, that was a hell of a game. Congratulations to the Horned Frogs and also to the Cal Bears. I mean, for the first Cheez It Bowl, Jeff, you ought to be proud of these teams for making an incredible football game. And now, something that you guys worked very hard for, I'm going to give to Coach Patterson. Coach Patterson, thank you for what you've done today, and congratulations for winning the Cheez It Bowl.
There you go.
Okay, it started as the Cheez It Bowl. It ended as the Cheese INT Bowl. Coach, have you ever seen a game like that?
No.
Have you lost your voice too?
Yes, I have. But love these guys. These guys are unbelievable. Hey, I'm trying to be nice to you. I love these guys. Number one, 6 weeks ago, we were 4-6. Nobody cared about us. We were at it, and they fought back to win now 4 out of 5 ball games, get to a winning season, make TCU proud, and the seniors go out winners. That was 47 wins for them and 167 in our lifetime. So go Frogs.
What's your message to this senior class who just played their last game for you?
You know, the message to Ben, LJ, the younger guys coming back, all the seniors is this: you will always be a Horned Frog. That's the one thing we've always said over 21 years, is it doesn't matter if you're a good player, bad player, you're always a certain way that you act, a certain way that you play, and that's what Horned Frogs, and they showed that tonight on the ball field.
This game was so gritty. This game was so hard fought. What impressed you the most from this team?
Well, you know, really, we didn't have anything. We didn't have anything go right. We set a record. We were part of a record, 9 picks. We didn't have to do that, right? But we did find a way to win the ball game in the 4th quarter, and that's what we needed to do. And so these guys standing up here will probably be a better testament of talking about what they do.
We'll let you rest your voice. Congratulations, Coach. And Steven to present our offensive MVP.
All right, Mr. Lanaloa. Man, you battled out there today. He worked really hard. And now I'm going to have Jeff from Cheez It give you this offensive player trophy.
And the Cheez It Bowl goes to the Horned Frogs. 10-7 your final score. Jonathan Song with the Horned Frogs celebration. 9 picks total. You didn't see many of them, but they were there. TCU threw for 28 yards and won a bowl game.
They did. It's because they threw half the time to the opposite team.
Good for TCU, and congratulations to that defense, which played so well down the stretch of this season. Shewa Olalolua, 194 rush yards and a touchdown. So final total, 16 varieties of Cheez It, 17 points in the Cheez It Bowl. And we thank you for watching the Capital One postgame trophy ceremony from the Cheez It Bowl. So long.